Welcome back to Something in the Shadows. Today, we're going to be talking about the man who fed his victims to pigs, Robert Pickton. Robert Pickton is a Canadian serial killer and former pig farmer. He's one of the most prolific serial killers. The movie, The Pig Farm, was produced following his story. He was convicted for the murder of 6 victims and later confessed to 49 murders in total. Today, we're going to dive into 5 dark facts regarding the man who fed his victims to pigs, Robert Pickton. Fact number 1. He was a party animal. Although he came off as a friendly, reserved pig farmer, Pickton wasn't without a wild side. He converted a building near the farm itself into a party palace where he would host wild and illegal parties for himself and his friends. He aptly named this place the Piggy Palace. He often held parties here where he would drink and use illicit drugs. Pickton took his party life very seriously enough to set up a non-profit charity called the Piggy Palace Good Time Society. It is said that his parties were attended by as many as 1,700 guests. It should be noted that it wasn't all good times at the Good Time Society, as these parties were entirely illegal, and Pickton and his brothers sold liquor at the events illicitly. They would also charge an entrance fee to raise money, which presumably went right back into the ongoing parties at the property. It is very possible that the Picktons never raised any money for any real decent cause, but rather used the society as a front to party and charge people money, while proclaiming it all went to some public good. Or maybe the non-profit org was just a front to rake in some serious cash. Fact number 2. The farm. The Pickton Pig Farm, located near Vancouver, was a disheveled, creepy place that proved suitable grounds to scare the living hell out of anyone, especially once news of the massive killing rampage came out. Pickton and his siblings sold off most of the farm, and when all was said and done, he was left with a 6.5-acre piece of property where he would do his dirty work. The property was strewn with scrap metal, non-working cars, random trucks, and the like. In short, it was a scene out of one of the modern remakes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's reminiscent of Ed Gein's House of Horrors and Dismemberment in Wisconsin. Scrap metal, blood, and rust always seem to make for the darkest scenes in real-life horror, don't they? Fact number 3. Pig fodder. Pickton had an unusually bizarre method of disposing of his victims, which, in the end, made it extremely difficult for authorities to convict him. He fed their corpses to pigs. Pickton was suspected of luring women to his pig farm and killing them, strangling them with a piece of wire, or shooting them with a firearm in a rural pig farm with no one around to hear the poor women scream. Having a pig farm turned out to be very handy in this endeavor. Pigs will eat through a human corpse without much of a problem. But having the pig farm meant that Pickton had his own meat processing facilities on his property. So Pickton had the means at his disposal to get rid of a corpse quickly and easily, with little, if any, trace of them to ever be found. In 2012, an elderly Oregon pig farmer was eaten by the pigs on his estate. It is unclear if the pigs actually killed him or simply ate the body after he, say, had a heart attack while in the pen. Initially, the man's dentures were found alongside the pigs, and then later, the rest of the farmer was located, the very little of him that was left. Pigs have absolutely no problem eating a dead body. Sometimes, people are attacked while alive, which adds a whole new layer of terrifying thought to the equation. What if Robert Pickton fed some of his victims to the pigs while they were still alive? We may never know. Fact number 4. Cannibalism? Not only did Pickton dispose of his victims in one of the most grisly fashions imaginable by feeding them to pigs, but he also is alleged to have something else done with their bodies. Something so vile and unthinkable that it's straight out of a work of fiction. Pickton reportedly ground up some of his victims into mincemeat, mixed them with pork, and sold the meat to unsuspecting people. In a strange twist of events, he is said to have even possibly sold this meat to local police officers. It would be a tragic, dark, and twisted irony if the people who were supposed to be catching this madman were unwittingly eating the victims of his crazed murder spree. The rumors of human-laced meat were written off by local police as just hearsay, but were they? Fact number 5. Unknown victims. In total, there was a massive discrepancy between the amount of people Pickton claimed to have killed, not to mention the amount of DNA of missing persons found on the pig farm, and the total number of convictions he ultimately received. The vast majority of the families of the victims of the pig farming serial killer would never get their closure, and most victims' bodies would never be found. This is a testament to the power of pigs and their gluttonous appetites. In all, the DNA of one woman would be found on Pickton's saw. The belongings of 20 missing women would be found on his property with no other trace of the victims. The DNA of 10 women would be found in Pickton's freezers. And ground meat containing the DNA of several others would be even found frozen inside those freezers. If you learned something today, subscribe to the YouTube channel and drop a like. Have a horrifying day.